What an embarrassment. What an absolute embarrassment. Last night was further proof as to why people don't watch pretend basketball. Last night was further proof as to why people do not respect the WNBA.
Honestly, beyond belief, what an absolute train wreck. Last night wasn't just a bad game, it was a glaring, painful demonstration of everything that prevents this league from being taken seriously by so many. Have you ever seen a performance so fundamentally, catastrophically poor, it felt less like professional sports and more like a surreal, embarrassing experiment? Because that's precisely what unfolded. It was a complete and utter meltdown, spearheaded by the player supposedly leading the way. While one highly touted rookie was busy showcasing elite skill and poise in a dominant win elsewhere, this performance looked like an entirely different sport, one where basic competency was nowhere to be found. It was a stark, almost unbelievable contrast, and it revealed some deeply uncomfortable truths about hype meeting reality.
The fiasco that is going on with the Chicago Sky last night, they got another drubbing by way of the New York Liberty. Angel Reese had her worst professional basketball game.
The stage was set. Expectations were sky high for a player constantly in the headlines. But what unfolded felt less like professional basketball and more like a cruel parody. We witnessed a statistical output so shocking, it felt like a glitch in the system. Imagine stepping onto the court playing significant minutes, a full 27 of them, in a high-profile professional game, and failing utterly to make a single shot from the field. 0 for 8, 8 attempts, 8 misses. Not one found its way through the hoop. Not even a desperate floater, not a contested layup, not a lucky bounce.
Angel Reese last night against the New York Liberty, one of the worst games she's played as a professional, takes that out on the referees.
Absolutely nothing. Add to this a contribution of a mere 2 points, likely salvaged from free throws, meaning the vast majority of her time on the court produced no scoring whatsoever from live action. For a player touted with superstar potential, for someone given the minutes and opportunity, this wasn't just an off night. This was a statistical implosion, a performance that felt to many watching like an absolute embarrassment for anyone involved. The sheer improbability of those numbers, 27 minutes, 0 made field goals, forces an immediate uncomfortable question. What exactly were we watching? And the details only get worse from there.
The bench.
Cardoso with the miss. Angel Reese picks it up, what she's good at. Getting another offensive rebound. She says, give me that. How about another? Persistence trying to pay off. Jones gets a piece. Angel Reese won't give up. Jones with another block.
For months, the media narrative has pushed a compelling storyline, the intense, defining rivalry between two key players positioned as the future of the league, a clash of styles, personalities, and fan bases meant to ignite interest and draw eyes to the sport. But last night offered a brutal, undeniable reality check to that carefully constructed narrative. How can something be called a rivalry when based purely on on-court performance? One participant appears to be operating on an entirely different planet. While one player was reportedly orchestrating a decisive win, dissecting defenses with precision and control, showcasing high basketball IQ and clinical execution, the player in question seemed trapped in a different dimension altogether, one where the basket actively repelled the ball.
Are you starting to understand why I make fun of this league? Are you starting to understand why the WNBA struggles to draw an audience based on the product on the court? There are missed shots, bad plays, but in the NBA, missed layups are the exception, not the norm. Last night, Angel Reese played 27 minutes. Angel Reese had 12 rebounds, with 8 coming on the offensive end. 8 offensive rebounds. Angel Reese went 0 for 8 from the field and scored 2 points. 2 points in 27 minutes.
It felt less like a competitive clash and more like watching a highly skilled craftswoman at work contrasted with someone who had misplaced their tools entirely. The comparison that has been tirelessly promoted simply did not hold up under the bright lights of competition, leaving many to wonder if the rivalry exists more in headlines and social media feeds than it does on the actual basketball court. It wasn't a duel. It was a stark, unsettling demonstration of a vast performance gap, and that gap wasn't limited to just shooting.
This is all part of the myth that I'm supposed to believe that Angel Reese is some great player, that she's the rival of Caitlin Clark, and that Indiana Fever fans taunted her with racial taunts, and people are actually believing it, buying it, and selling it. It's all a myth and a lie, and you have to be a part of some religious cult to actually believe that Angel Reese is some sort of effective, big-time basketball superstar.
The struggles weren't confined to scoring either. The statistical horror show extended to other crucial areas, painting a picture of a player not just unable to put the ball in the basket, but actively hindering the team's overall function. 5 turnovers in 27 minutes, 5 possessions simply given away to the opponent, crippling the team's ability to generate any offensive rhythm or maintain momentum, and perhaps even more tellingly, 0 assists, not a single play created for a teammate, no facilitation, no evidence of elevating anyone else's performance. This isn't just about one player having a bad shooting night, this is about a player whose performance metrics actively detract from the team's effectiveness across multiple facets of the game.
Chicago Sky fans are officially going to war. They can't stand Tyler Marsh. Let's start here. Worst plus minus in all of the WNBA is, in fact, you guessed it, Angel Reese. 9 out of the 14, bottom 14 are Chicago players. How is Angel running point guard going? 5 turnovers, 0 assists. I don't see Tyler Marsh winning the Coach of the Year.
When a player is on the court for almost half the game and delivers 0 assists against 5 turnovers, they are not contributing to the team's offensive success. They are undermining it, and the results speak for themselves. The team's overall point differential through the initial games has been historically dreadful, a clear indicator that this isn't an isolated player issue, but a significant piece of a much larger, deeply concerning team dysfunction. The statistical output wasn't just poor, it was detrimental, a drain on an already struggling unit, and the visible reactions weren't much better.
Angel Reese can rebound and has an attitude and has trolled Caitlin Clark into some sort of relevance. And there's this racial protection of Angel Reese. Somehow she's important, and somehow anything that bad happens to her, because I'm sure what we're going to hear is like, well, she's struggling offensively because of all the stress she's dealing with. She's created this stress by trolling Caitlin Clark and by trying to pick fights with Caitlin Clark and by jumping up and getting in Caitlin Clark's face, and is going to end in embarrassing fashion.
Watching the game unfold, it became clear that issues extended beyond individual execution and dipped into questions of strategy and team dynamics. There were moments that left observers genuinely bewildered, prompting uncomfortable questions about the coaching decisions and the team's approach. We saw instances where a dominant, talented teammate, standing tall and open under the basket, in prime position to score or draw a foul, seemed to be completely overlooked, passes simply not coming their way. It creates a visual contradiction, immense potential for easy points being ignored, while inefficient, contested plays are attempted elsewhere. More strikingly, we saw that very teammate display clear, visible signs of frustration on the court. Body language doesn't lie.
The Sky's minus 60 point diff is the worst through a team's first 2 games in WNBA history. It's real bad. And of course, last night we saw this, of course, is the stat patter extraordinaire. Of course, this was Angel Reese. She got blocked, I don't know how many times, by Jonquel Jones, who just wore her ass out. By the way, all them blocks, when she got the ball back, that's an offensive rebound. Certainly maybe the most embarrassing WNBA clip of all time. It's up there, unfortunately, for Angel Reese. There's many of those over time.
There were moments of exasperation, gestures of disbelief, and at one particularly jarring point, an apparent act of simply disengaging from the active play, turning away and walking towards the bench area in a gesture that spoke volumes about the internal state of the team. It forces you to ask, is this a coaching failure to utilize personnel effectively? Is it a breakdown in team chemistry? Or is it something even more unsettling, a symptom of fundamental issues preventing basic effective basketball from being played? The disconnect between obvious opportunities and the plays being run adds another layer to the mystery surrounding this team's struggles and leads to the biggest question of all.
I thought Angel Reese was dedicating this season to winning. I thought she was focused on carrying the Chicago bravado to the promised land of golden toilets and bathrooms with running water. Hey y'all, it's me, Angel Reese. I'm dedicating this season to victory. I'm struggling to understand the end destination of this journey. I'm struggling to understand the winning that Angel Reese is talking about. Because 2 games into the season, the Chicago Bravado are losing by an average of 30 points. They're getting their ass kicked.
This brings us to what is arguably the most perplexing aspect of this entire situation. Despite the statistically abysmal performance, the negative impact on team flow, and the visible signs of frustration from teammates and historical team struggles, this player continues to be featured prominently. They remain a starter, handed significant minutes, and positioned as a central figure. In a results-oriented business like professional sports, this defies logic. It begs the question, why? Why is a performance like this, not just once, but as part of a worrying pattern of inefficiency, not met with reduced minutes, a benching, or a fundamental shift in role? It leads to speculation about the forces at play beyond the hardwood. Is the emphasis purely on branding and marketability, with on-court performance taking a back seat? Are endorsement deals and media narratives dictating personnel decisions over wins and losses? It feels as though there's a powerful, almost impenetrable shield around this player, protecting them from the consequences that virtually any other athlete putting up these numbers would face.
The person who should be throwing temper tantrums on the Chicago Sky, that person should be Kamilla Cardoso. Look at the frustration oozing out of Kamilla Cardoso. She gets a switch, Natasha Cloud, she's posting her up. Now a lot of people are going to say, wait, you see the players on the New York Liberty cheating? I mean, Hamilton's injured. I'm not exactly sure who that is crashing down. Pardon me. You got Jonquel Jones on the backside. You give it to Kamilla Cardoso. She's 6'7". She catches it up top. As soon as she turns to the paint, she recognizes that she's getting double teamed. She swings it, finds the open man, pull up 3, bang or break, depending on who's shooting. But that's commonplace in basketball. Defense rotates, swing, you get a 3. Defense rotates, swing, take it to the rack, you get a contested, maybe you get to the foul line, hit some free throws. If I'm Kamilla Cardoso, I am upset with how this offense is looking. If I'm Kamilla Cardoso, I'm upset that I still can't manage to get an entry pass. If I'm Kamilla Cardoso, I'm upset that I still need to deal with this type of amateurism in the WNBA.
It's a situation that feels deeply unfair to teammates striving for success, and baffling to fans watching a team struggle while seemingly prioritizing something other than effective play. This puzzling privilege is at the heart of the controversy, a disconnect between reality and role that is difficult for anyone focused on the sport itself to reconcile, and it raises concerns about a pattern that extends beyond just this game.
The worst part about this Kamilla Cardoso last night is you seeing her visibly giving up on her team here. Look at this. Look at this. Kamilla Cardoso literally walking towards the New York Liberty bench. Like, hey, Brianna, Sabrina, scoot over a little bit. Let me take a seat. Hey, Sandy, is there any room on the bench for me? Can you guys use an extra player? Can I switch jerseys and see how I fit on this team? Turning your back to your team, walking away from the active plays going on, walking away from the actual basketball action. Yeah, Kamilla Cardoso is not a happy camper over there in Chicago, and I don't blame her. Again, this is another year of the same nonsense.
To understand the depth of concern, it's crucial to recognize that this recent game, while perhaps the most statistically glaring, is not an isolated anomaly. When you look back, a disturbing pattern of behavior and performance under pressure begins to reveal itself. There have been previous moments under intense competitive pressure where emotional responses appeared to override strategic thinking or composure, instances where reactions seemed disproportionate or uncontrolled, requiring intervention from teammates or officials.
Angel Reese is arguably the worst high-profile basketball player I have ever seen. I don't remember Angel Reese being this bad in college. But KC, she's not in college anymore. Angel Reese is now competing against the best athletes in the world!
While passion is admired, a pattern of struggling with emotional regulation in high-stakes situations is a significant concern for any athlete striving for consistency and leadership. These recurring moments suggest that the challenges extend beyond just skill execution. They point to a potential pattern in managing the mental and emotional demands of playing at the highest professional level, adding another layer of complexity to the questions surrounding this player's readiness and impact. This isn't a one-time stumble. It seems to be part of a recurring theme under pressure, a pattern that continued even after the game ended.
The Bravado don't need skilled players throughout their roster. They have Angel Reese. According to the media, Angel Reese is the equivalent of Caitlin Clark. Prepare yourself to be mesmerized at the elite athleticism of Angel Reese. Watch this sequence for yourself.
The bench. Cardoso with the miss. Angel Reese picks it up, what she's good at. Getting another offensive rebound. She says, give me that. How about another? Persistence trying to pay off. Jones gets a piece. Angel Reese won't give up. Jones with another block.
Adding to the swirling questions and controversy surrounding the recent performance was the aftermath, specifically the player's absence from the mandated post-game press conference. In the world of professional sports, facing the media after a game, good or bad, is part of the job, an expectation for anyone in a leadership role or with a high profile. It's where athletes answer questions, offer insights, and, when necessary, take accountability for their performance. For a player at the center of such a statistically shocking and widely discussed game to simply skip this responsibility sends a powerful message. It feels like an avoidance of accountability, a sidestepping of difficult questions, and a stark contrast to how leaders and superstars typically handle moments of adversity.
Why isn't Angel Reese there? Next question. The Chicago Sky don't want to win. Angel Reese needs to come off the bench. She's terrible. She doesn't do anything to help the team win or be better. Please keep letting her be great, a great point forward. She isn't. Take 3-pointers. Bring back Weatherspoon. They're going to war. I think Reese is supposed to be playing in the Special Olympics. Wow.
While facing criticism is tough, ducking the responsibility fuels speculation and reinforces the perception that this player is operating under different rules, shielded not just on the court, but off it as well, avoiding the necessary public reckoning that comes with such a high-profile position and a performance that left so many bewildered, and this avoidance often comes hand in hand with another frustrating trend.
This was last night's press conference. Now, there's Tyler Marsh in the middle, and you got players on each side. You keep going. This was the post-game press conference. Angel Reese, who's supposed to be the star of this team, dodged the press conference. Where is she? I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, what's going on?
And perhaps the most frustrating part of this entire saga for many is the reaction to any form of criticism. For those who dare to point out the statistical realities, the on-court struggles, the visible team dysfunction, or the puzzling decisions, the immediate response is often a barrage of accusations. Critics are quickly labeled as haters, dismissed with allegations of misogyny or racism, attempting to shut down any legitimate discussion based on observable facts. But this isn't about prejudice, it's about performance. It's about analyzing the numbers, questioning baffling coaching or roster decisions, and discussing the undeniable disconnect between a powerful media narrative and the tangible reality unfolding on the basketball court.
I know this from being a very below average basketball player on the playground, and I've talked to people that have played the highest levels. The worst teammate is, or a bad teammate is, a black hole that scores a lot. You know what the worst teammate is? A black hole that can't. You have to know your role.
It feels like an attempt to gaslight anyone who points out what is plainly visible. The shield around this player is not just protective, it's actively used to deflect and silence valid points based on the game itself. It creates a toxic environment where honest analysis is framed as an attack, further entrenching the baffling situation where narrative and external factors seem to hold more weight than the actual play and results.
And we already have 2 separate games of Angel Reese failing to control her emotions. We saw it against the Indiana Fever. Yes, she got a hard foul, but what was the difference between Angel Reese's reaction to the hard foul and Ryan Howard's reaction to the hard foul? Ryan Howard got up, took a step, talked a little bit of jargon. That was it. Angel Reese took a hard foul, got up, took multiple steps. Teammates got in there, proceeded to step forward. More teammates got in between. She proceeded to step forward, couldn't control herself, undoes her shirt, goes to the bench, can't calm herself down, gets up, walks back to the check-in table, and then we see the race hoax heard around the world unfold.
So, we are left to grapple with a perplexing situation. A player presented as a face of the league, surrounded by immense hype and apparent protection, yet delivering performances that statistically and visually appear detrimental to their team. The contrast between the powerful narrative and the on-court reality is stark, creating a scenario that feels increasingly unsustainable. As the losses mount and the statistical statistical anomalies persist, the questions intensify. How long can a narrative hold up against undeniable facts? Will performance eventually dictate opportunity, or will external factors continue to shape the on-court reality? And what does this mean for the integrity of the competition and the perception of fairness within the league? The story of this player, this team, and this season is unfolding in real time, a dramatic, confusing narrative that is forcing everyone to confront the uncomfortable truth when the hype machine collides head-on with the cold, hard reality of the game. The coming weeks will reveal whether reality begins to shift the narrative or if the shield proves stronger than the facts on the court.